But before we get into the polling, check out this new ad from the Trump campaign.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Doesn't miss. Bringing in my panel now, Sky News contributor Kosha Garda, past chair of the Parliament's Foreign Affairs Defence Committee, Michael Danby. I'll start with you, Kosha. The gloves are really coming off in these last couple of weeks when you see ads like that.
Yes, and that one is interesting because the cultural issues have spiked in the national discourse from time to time, but right now they don't really poll in the top 5 issues in comparison to the economy and immigration, which are these gigantic problems, except for parents in the suburbs. And that's one issue where Trump has always been soft, especially with suburban moms. This issue really matters to them. That's what put Glenn Youngkin in the governor's race in the front seat. And I think that's why these ads are coming out in a targeted way to shore up that suburban vote. And he has made inroads with them compared to the last time.
And we're seeing how, I mean, forget the coastal enclaves of New York and California. It's down to a handful of counties and a handful of seats. That's where the vote's tight. This time previously, under Hillary Clinton and of course in the Biden race, the Democrats were so much further in front of Trump, Michael. And if you discount or factor in the shy Trump sort of vote, although I'd argue perhaps 8 years on it's more exposed now, but it's certainly material, this would be tight for the Democrats now, uncomfortably tight.
Depends whether the pollsters have factored in that shy Trump vote, but I think the most alarming statistic for the Harris-Walz campaign would be the statistics on young black men, which I've seen from the Obama era go down from 81% to 41% now. So if they're significant in Michigan or Pennsylvania, that could be a big problem for them.
I mean, she's marketed herself as a black woman, as a woman of colour. Why would black men not be willing to vote for a black woman?
Well, that's a question Obama's asking them, but I think actually that's a bit rude. They regard that as a bit rude. I saw a left-wing black woman on MSNBC getting upset about it as well. I think people are entitled to vote however they like, and it's a mistake to question them. But I think with the gender gap in this election is amazing. The male vote against Kamala and the female vote for her is very strong. And I think I saw one poll that was a 20-point difference.
So gender's making more of a difference, even if you look at the Hispanic vote too, than racial background.
Yeah, so one of the biggest dividing lines in this election is that gender gap. Trump has always done better with men, and generally the Democrats do better with women, but it is really, really stark. For many reasons, I think Trump just is sort of this aspirational figure despite his flaws for men, and he comes across as a strong leader in the times that we live in.
And he's comfortable being a man's man in a country that sort of demonised men.
Yes, and he really kind of owns that, and people, flaws and all, warts and all, just see him as a strong leader, and you kind of know what you're getting. For women, I think the bar is higher anyway to be the commander-in-chief of the most powerful country on earth, and on top of that, she just doesn't exude that kind of strength or even the intellect, dare I say it. At least Hillary Clinton did exhibit a command of the issues, but maybe, didn't have the charisma. She doesn't come across with either. And especially these groups, blacks, Hispanics, they do value that strongman type of persona culturally on top of the issues again. He is stronger on the economy, he is stronger on immigration. Both those groups are disproportionately affected by those issues and really, really care about it. She's not cutting through. One other point on the polls I was just gonna mention is the vote by mail metric, which is what basically led to the victory of Biden last time. And because of COVID, it was sort of on steroids, or 100 million mail-in ballots. That is cratering. So I was looking at the numbers, and in Georgia, there were 1.4 million mail-in ballots requested in the last election, and it's only 300,000 right now. That's a category where Democrats do really, really well. So to me, that's a five-alarm fire if I were her. In those states, it's not quite as pronounced in others, but that's, I think, really telling more so than the polls.
She's going into dangerous territory by getting interviewed by Brett Baier, even though he's fair and balanced on Fox, and more particularly by that young demographic, Charlemagne the Great, who's a young, very popular black podcaster. And I can't see why she's doing that. I think it's very dangerous.
That tells you
he may blow her up, I think.
Yeah, well,
she's swinging for the fences.
And Saturday Night Live is against her, which tells you she's in a bad way.